Right now, where we're sitting, this coming Thursday is 1 week away from the start of the NFL draft. Let that sink in. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into another video. Definitely do me a huge favor, smack the like button on this video and subscribe for more Arizona Cardinals content. Ladies and gentlemen, this coming Thursday is 1 week away from the start of the first round of the NFL draft, and I'm absolutely super excited. Not only do the Cardinals have 2 first-round picks, but we have a chance to really make a franchise altering decision in a little over a week from now. So it's really exciting time to be an Arizona Cardinal fan. And obviously with Kyler Murray coming back, we've seen some flashes. He's getting more comfortable in this Drew Petzing offense, and it almost kind of looks like the Cardinals will be going wide receiver, but it's not 100% for certain, right? Now, we've been talking a lot verbatim on what the Cardinals are going to be doing with the 4th overall pick, and we've also kind of sprinkled it on the idea of what the Cardinals are going to do with the 27th overall pick, but it's so hard to predict or so hard to determine who the Cardinals should go after because there's 26 picks done right before, right, that 27th overall. So it all kind of comes down to who's going to get picked and who's going to be available, but it's so intriguing to figure out what all these draft analysts are saying about what the Cardinals should do with that 4th overall pick. Now, as of right now, it does honestly feel like it's going to be quarterback with all 3 teams ahead of the Arizona Cardinals, most likely going to get a quarterback, or at least they are quarterback needy teams. It leaves the Arizona Cardinals in a very interesting position in what they're going to do with that 4th overall pick. Now, as of right now, we have heard a lot of people kind of giving multiple different scenarios out there, right? The Cardinals can decide to trade back with the quarterback needy team in the Minnesota Vikings because they do own the 11th and the 23rd overall. There's a lot of people out there saying the Cardinals should get the haul and move back, right? But I'm a big advocate of the Arizona Cardinals should actually stay where they're at and pick best player available. Now, we were I don't want to say a victim, but we actually did that last year pertaining to trading back to trade back up. Now, granted, we did get our guy we wanted, right, in Paris Johnson Jr., but to me, I was very high on Will Anderson Jr., which it was a prospect that I really liked at the end of the 2022 season. So getting Paris Johnson Jr., I think, is honestly a really good player for the future, but you can't ignore the fact that Will Anderson Jr., Defensive Rookie of the Year, had so much great production and had a lot of, things to say in terms of having this really good quick rebuild for the Houston Texans. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that Paris Johnson Jr. is not a good pick, because he is. He's a very good pick because we do have the flexibility of either having him on right or left. It does give us a lot of breathing room to figure out what we can do heading into 2024. Now, as of right now, the Arizona Cardinals do have a lot of big holes heading into the draft: cornerback, edge, interior defensive lineman, as well as wide receiver. But I feel like one of the big glaring needs on what the Cardinals have is going to be that wide receiving core and what we have currently on the roster. Now, we did hear Mel Kiper come out here and say that the Arizona Cardinals should not overthink this. Now, like I said earlier, I get it that there is a lot of people saying that the Cardinals should get the haul, but as of right now, I am a big advocate of actually getting quality over quantity. Get what people are saying out there, when in terms of if you got more draft picks, you get a better opportunity to hit the superstar, right, in the first round. But to be honest with you, if you look at, the first round picks throughout the history of the NFL, most guys coming out of the first round, they're not superstars, right? They're not even stars. Some most likely will be starters, but a lot of them are probably out of the league or already, looking for a replacement for that first round pick. So with where the Arizona Cardinals are at right now with the 4th overall pick, I feel like it's definitely got to be a guy where you need to hit a home run, right? And I feel like if you trade back, yes, you are getting more picks and a better opportunity to get a star on your roster, but I feel like you're honestly settling for 2s or 3s or 4s of a certain position, especially if you decide to trade back to 11 or really banking on your buck of the 23rd overall pick, right? Now, let's continue to talk about this, Mel Kiper article that I ended up seeing here. Now, I get it, right? Everybody's draft analysts out here, or, Mel Kiper is also another big personality out there, Daniel Jeremiah. You got a lot of people out here, kind of giving draft insight, but in the end of the day, this is all based off of a person's opinion, right? At the end of the day, right? And all this podcast here is based off of my opinion here at the end of the day, right? So, choose to believe whatever you want to believe, but I truly am a big advocate of Marvin Harrison Jr. being the best wide receiver in this NFL draft. Now, there is a comparison to Larry Fitzgerald and Marvin Harrison Jr., and honestly, to me, I'm not, one to say that they are comparable or we're going to have our next Larry Fitzgerald, but to think of the idea of finally getting a number one homegrown wide receiver in the draft, like, we haven't had one of those since Larry Fitzgerald. Now, yes, I'm fully aware that we did get a first round wide receiver in getting Michael Floyd, but we all know how that kind of ended up. I love the idea of potentially getting a Larry Fitzgerald 2.0. Even if they're not the same players, even if the personalities aren't the same, you cannot ignore the fact that Marvin Harrison Jr. probably should be the pick if he's there at 4. Now, if he does get sniped away from the Arizona Cardinals at 3 to the New England Patriots, which I've seen some mock drafts coming out here, and the Patriots end up getting Marvin Harrison Jr. away from the Arizona Cardinals, then you might be able to kind of open your eyes and maybe decide to trade back if the Cardinals decide to do that. But if you are sitting there at 4 and you're not getting that King's ransom that you hope to get, and as of right now, we heard the thought of 3 first-round picks that the Cardinals want. Now, I don't know if the Minnesota Vikings are going to do it. I truly don't know if they're going to do it. But if we're sitting there, we really need to evaluate who is the player that's going to be a game changer, an altering player that's going to completely upgrade this position. Can you get that at 11? Can you get that at 23? Can you get that at 27? Maybe, right? But if you know for sure that Marvin Harrison Jr. is your number one wide receiver in this entire draft, or maybe even your number one prospect, and you're sitting there at 4, you probably got to pull the trigger, right? Just like Mel Kiper has come out here and said, don't overthink this. You need to get a weapon for Kyler Murray, get the best player available in this draft, and the rest is history from there. So, ladies and gentlemen, what are your thoughts here on what the Arizona Cardinals are going to do? Are you still a big advocate of the Cardinals trading back and getting the haul? Or do you want to stick and pick and get Marvin Harrison Jr.? In the comments below, let me know your thoughts. I appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day and go Cards.